Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. Ibua. Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, welcome back everybody to another Tua Tagovailoa and Miami Dolphin content. Shout out to Big D who said, hey, where's the music? So we put it out there for you again, Big D. That is the right. Or Big D. That is like you are like me. It is like when I hear it, I have a little bit, it's like caffeine, you know? Have a cup of coffee and then the blood start flowing. That is what I like.
That is exactly right, yeah.
You know, we were supposed to do this and put this content up last Sunday, but we just didn't have enough time to load it up on Sunday. But then we had to change it again because things had changed since Sunday night. I mean, and then we wanted to put something up yesterday, but still again, we couldn't get any time up. But, you know, we had put together this content for Sunday, and it had a lot to do with Jim Harbaugh, you know, because now his name is back on again, you know. But you know, Jim Harbaugh, what can I say? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who think that he's coming to Miami, and I hope so too, whichever one. But I really believe that he's not coming to Miami.
No,
but that's just from what we've seen, right?
Absolutely. It's just that what we've seen so far is that everything points that he is going to Minnesota Vikings or back in the Michigan. So I'm not really sure if Miami is one of the places, but it is possible. But one can really say. Because on Sunday we were gonna just say that, yeah, it looks like he was gonna stay in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And or just stay in Michigan is what I mean.
I mean, we saw the press conference in Minnesota, and we saw the things that was happening on the internet, and later on Sunday night, you know, all this all this Jim Harbaugh, you know, coming back for an interview with Minnesota. You know, even then, I mean, the reasons are right. I mean, out there why he would choose Miami. But when you really think about it, I mean, we can present our case, and you can just listen to what we were thinking of back then.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, now it has, everybody's thinking that he's going to Miami. But we're going to put out the content that we thought he wasn't coming. Okay?
No, yeah. I mean, I would be happy if he's coming, to be honest with you, coming to Miami. But what we saw is something special, especially with his family and with this new Minnesota Vikings general manager.
Yeah, because what we saw was basically there was it's just a gut feeling, and I understand why people would think he would be going to Miami, and I also understand the people who think that they will be staying in Minnesota. But you know, we also think that, you know, he lost $4 million a year. He had a big pay cut from $8 million to $4 million in Michigan. So in the very, very beginning, people were saying it's just leverage, you know, like he was tied into the job with Las Vegas. Yes, but Las Vegas has hired, you know, two guys from New England Patriots. Yeah, Josh McDaniels, and the general manager is also from New England, and they both went to college together in the same place. So there's ties there for both of them to go to bring this new bring this new idea that they already have from New England over to Las Vegas. So
Yeah.
when Jim Harbaugh was tied to that, you know, as you can see, it's not. You know?
Well, we
So-
didn't. We didn't really think so, because it's just people putting out information out there, and the sources. You have to look at who is saying what, and so we kind of just went to them and to the people who are involved and listen to what they are saying, and then decide for ourselves: is it possible that Jim Harbaugh will be going to Minnesota Vikings? And what we've built and the things with tapes, audios we have put together, we think that, with this information we have, it says no, but we could be wrong. Okay, so it's up to you to decide what you think. And by the way, do you see the voting that we did last week? Also, thank you everybody who voted for, if it was Kellen Moore or Mike McDaniel, who would be coach. Would we pick him if he was available, and we picked him today? About 90% of everybody just said Mike McDaniel would be the perfect fit. So you can see a majority of the people that voted just want Mike McDaniel. Now that Jim Harbaugh is coming out there, so the question is it just for clicks, clickbaits, on social media, or is it to sell newspapers? We're not really sure. Okay, but we'll just present you with what we heard, what we saw, and from that we said he's not coming. But that's not looking at people's inside information or anything. We just took what we saw out there, and that's what we came up with. So we'll pass it on to you, and you decide for yourself. That is right.
Okay,
Well,
hold on.
Yeah, the first thing we're gonna give you is hate. Who is hating on Jim Harbaugh? It seems like everybody have something nice, and they come here, come there, but almost 2 weeks ago there was hate on Jim Harbaugh from our favorite haters of Tua Tagovailoa haters, who also didn't want Chris Sims and Mike Florio. Here is
what
what
it takes
they
to be
say.
a great head coach, to your point. But I agree. Like, I haven't heard anything substantial as far as any team that's really like actually considering Harbaugh at this point. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know the right people.
You're right. You're right.
I haven't heard any of that. It does seem like he's just looking for somebody to take some interest in him. And it does seem like he wants back in the NFL for sure. And I understand that. He was a quarterback in the NFL. I think that's really where his heart is. He got to an AFC championship as a quarterback. He's never got that Super Bowl ring as a player or as a coach. And I would envision that's really his dream. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I really don't. He has a bad reputation. He's a different guy. He's weird. I don't know any other way to say it, let alone I don't like him. You know that. Even if I don't like him, he's still weird. I mean, the guy is like this. The first time I met him, I walked up and I went, "Hey, Coach Harbaugh, great to meet you. How you doing?" He went, "Great," with a capital G. And I was like, "What?" I looked around and I was like, "I'm just Chris and I'm here to meet you. What do you I'm Chris with a capital C. I'm not like, you're not pumping me up." So I go, he's weird. There's a reason, everybody gets sick of him after 2 or 3 years. I think it goes beyond a little bit of what we're talking about with great coaches can be tough on their guy. I mean, to me, I think he sometimes crosses the line as a real jerk that way. And I know that because I've heard that from coaches who have worked for him and people who have been around him. So that's where it's different. And I have a hard time thinking anybody in the NFL is going to go after him in this hiring cycle.
Everything with Jim Harbaugh feels like a competition, to the point where, and I picked up on this early in his time with the 49ers, when he's in a press conference, it's like, every question and answer is some sort of an arm wrestling
agreed.
match.
It's uncomfortable.
And he comes up with tentative answers, and he projects them onto an invisible teleprompter and reads them as he's saying them to make sure one last time these are the words I want to say. I mean, it is incredibly awkward to see him in those settings.
It
so
is.
You're right. But
he can coach some
44-19
football.
and 1.
Exactly. He can coach some football.
If
Right.
you want to win a Super Bowl, they all say they want to win a Super Bowl. And I feel like this year the teams are being so deliberate and so expansive and so methodical and comprehensive. I feel like they are overlooking some pretty obvious options. We still have yet to hear of any of these 8 teams. Now, I know the Broncos wouldn't do it, but the other 7,
nobody's
yet. Talking to Josh McDaniels.
I'm shocked. I know. I'm shocked. I don't understand it either. You're right. It's a different cycle here. It really is. I mean,
wow. Well, we know that yesterday that Josh McDaniels got hired by the Las Vegas Raiders. So he's been hired. But just to listen to Chris Sims and Mike Florio hating on Jim Harbaugh, I guess hating Tua is just normal for them. So, well, whatever.
It's in there.
So what else do we have?
Well, we have picture here with information. So for those of you who don't know Jim Harbaugh, he is Michigan head coach from 2015 to present. And, he was head coach before with San Francisco 49ers from 2011, 2014, went to the Super Bowl. He lost to his brother. So, but before that, before he came to San Francisco, he was actually Stanford Cardinals. He was college football coach, from 2007 to 2010. And then he went to San Francisco. And so before that, he was a quarterback in the NFL from 1987 to 2001. So here are the teams that he first was drafted by the Bears, then he went to the Colts and the Ravens and the Chargers and then the Lions and the Panthers. He's 58 years old. He was born in 1963 on December 23rd in Toledo, Ohio. Hey, all these people from Ohio, they are very good coaches in the NFL, right? Well, here also in the NFL, he was drafted, first round, pick number 26 in 1987.
Yeah, that's right. What's nice is to see the history and where he was born in Toledo, Ohio. I mean, great football area. So to see, and when you know that he's coming from Ohio, it's family oriented. I think he's, let me see here, his father was a coach, so him and his brother are now coaches. So, and this is where I think that Miami Dolphins might not be one of the teams he would want to coach at. Okay, hold on.
Because of family matters here, I don't know. Look, I can see the father is also Jack. So their whole family, Jack, Jim, and John. What is interesting is he coached not only in college but also professional, like somewhere there here it says Pittsburgh. I don't know if he was assistant there for 1 year, but many different colleges. He was a quarterback and a defensive guy. This is the father. Yeah, I mean. It says in 1961 he was playing New York Titans. I don't know what teams is New York Titans back then in 1961, but he was a defensive back and a quarterback. Yeah?
Amazing talent.
Interesting.
Amazing talent, So if you have your two boys and you're family oriented, and then obviously, the job between like Miami and Minnesota Vikings. So which one would you take? So when you look at the family situation, his mom and dad, they're older now. Yeah, so
yeah, that is right.
and look, the mother's name was Jacqueline with the J, and also the daughter was the name Joni. Yeah, all J's. They have a good sense of humor, don't they? They sure do, because back in 2011, when they first met on Thanksgiving and also at the Super Bowl, and both were called with the two brothers as coaches. San Francisco against Baltimore Ravens, and it was called the Har-bowl. So when they went into the Super Bowl, it was still called the Har-bowl. But his older brother won, of course, and I just don't see them. I just don't see him going to Miami because of that. The Har-bowl. I think the NFL will be so happy to have him back, because then you can guarantee that on Thanksgiving Day you will have the Har-bowl, on Thanksgiving. But not as Miami Dolphins, because I believe they really would like to meet again in the Super Bowl. And if he goes to Miami, and Baltimore makes it, they have to go to the conference title. And I think the NFL and I think the people in America would rather have him go to an NFC team instead of going to an AFC team.
Yeah, I think you are very right. I never thought of it that way. Hey, you are smiling. What's going on? Why
Yeah,
you
well, I have a feeling it has to do with Minnesota Vikings 2022 new general manager in Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's 41 years old, born in New Jersey, Cherry Hills, New Jersey. Cherry Hill, yeah. And he actually went to, he's a former Ivy League. He went to Princeton University, got his bachelor's in economics, and then went to Stanford in 2010, I think.
Hey, Kwesi, Sam Ekstrom with Purple Insider. You mentioned earlier the people that first said yes to you. I'm curious how that initial connection came together that got you in the door at San Francisco, and then what was that crash course like, being in a front office or an organization for the first time?
Sure, man, you talk about life being, so full circle. I think I missed this when you asked the question. I was at Stanford to become an econ professor. I was going to go wear a tweed jacket and glasses and teach students. And I still had a lot of decision making left in me. I wanted to be a part of it in a practical sense. We have these three, in PhD programs, you have these 3 6-hour tests called comprehensives, I think they were called. And, the macro on macroeconomics was never my strength. It didn't go so well. So, you kind of had this decision, do you want to, petition to stay or not? And I was kind of in a position where I didn't really want to stay, and I was really interested in getting into sports. I went to the MIT Sports Analytics Conference, and funny enough, a guy named Daniel Adler, who's actually with the Minnesota Twins, he connected me with Brian Hampton. And so you think about life being so, full circle, but that's how the meeting went, and we talked, hit it off. Brian will tell you he knew the second he met me that I would be here, but he waited a little while before he called me for that job. So I give him a little stuff for that still, but yeah, that's how I got here.
That is very interesting, yeah. I mean, to think that he was a portfolio manager, commodities trader on Wall Street, and then to end up now as general manager for some reason. He's very smart, and it's very interesting to me to see someone with this talent. And when you think that all these Ivy League boys are going to San Francisco to learn their trade there, when you think of Mike McDaniel now tied to, Miami Dolphins, and then of course with Jim, but here is Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, who's from Ivy League school also, very bright. What are you thinking now that is very interesting to you?
Well, I think it has to do with this next question, because this next question is what ties everybody together. This is the question ties Stanford, it ties San Francisco, it ties Minnesota Vikings together with Jim Harbaugh. And I could be wrong, but that's the question that ties everything together. It is not the question, it's the answer, so you have to really think about it, and I'll tell you why.
Good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Vikings. Larry Fitzgerald, National Programming Network, Larry-Fitzgerald.com. You touched on your time in San Francisco and Bill Walsh. As we know, the 49ers had never won a championship until Bill Walsh got there. What did you learn about the inner workings of the 49ers and what he established and built that they continue today that you will apply to what you hope to bring to the Minnesota Vikings?
that phrase I used earlier, thoughtful and intentional, that's kind of what I got from Bill Walsh. I don't think there's been anybody in the history of the sport that was more thoughtful and intentional than him. The detail that he planned practice and what he was trying to get out of it, every letter of that organization had a reason why. And so, in our interviews, I spoke a lot about that's how I'm wired, that's who I am. I don't think you change for the sake of change, but I think you ask why a lot. And I think that permeates that building still to this day. I think, football philosophy-wise, he was, he knew that you couldn't just line up and expect to win every week. And so he created a system that gave his players the best chance to win. And ultimately, there's lots of ways to do that. And as we get into the coaching search, we'll discuss those things. But, there's a way to give your players an advantage week in, week out, year in and year out. There's a way to be process-driven and process-oriented to kind of figure out how to evolve. And that's the type of thing we're looking for, and that's the type of thing that, Coach Walsh instilled upon me.
Yeah, so you see this Coach Walsh, and I think Coach Walsh died in 2007, and it's the same year that Jim went from San Diego over to Stanford and became coach in 2007. So I think they have a lot of ties together, and maybe that Jim and and I'm assuming now, but I have a feeling that it was meant to be, Stanford Cardinals from 2007, 2010, and 2007 when Bill Walsh died. So, continuing that after that, because Bill Walsh, after Stanford, was also a Stanford Cardinals head coach, and from Stanford, he just went straight to San Francisco 49ers. So basically, Jim is following that footstep of Bill. And then now that the Kwesi is here in Minnesota, I have a feeling that basically, if he comes back, Jim Harbaugh, he's not coming to Miami, even though there's a lot of people believing in that. And I can see the reason why, because of the ties with Michigan and owner Stephen Ross. But more important is the ties between Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Jim Harbaugh. The two of them together from San Francisco. Yeah. And that tie, and also the philosophy of Bill Walsh. And I think even in this last audio you heard, he mentioned when he said something, and that they will look for this formula of winning, the Bill Walsh way, and he said it'll be with their coach search, and the first coach that he's bringing in on Wednesday is Jim Harbaugh, and I hear what everybody's saying, and I understand why they're saying that, but I really believe in. Here's the last audio I will play for you, and it has to do with this, that it's the final thing that I think that he will not go to Miami.
We're going to win this one. All we care about is winning the next game. Love you, man. Love you too. I'm so proud of you. Hey, no matter how it comes out. No matter how it comes out, that's right. You can't change that. Exactly right. Huh? Exactly right.
You think of Har-bowl in 2011, the first time that John and Jim Harbaugh faced each other. And, of course, all the focus is on the two brothers. What about the parents?
Guys, who has it better than us? Nobody.
Our players have started saying that. Steve Bisciotti said that to me the other day. It's rubbing off. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Who does have it better than us?
Nobody.
True, huh? Who's got better than us? Nobody. So you really think that this audio helps you decide that they are going, that he's gonna go to Minnesota? I mean, you cannot play a Super Bowl with one brother. So the only way to play a Super Bowl with two brothers is to have one in the NFC and one in the AFC. So that's the only reason why I'm saying it's possible that he's just going to go to Minnesota, or unless he will just stay in Michigan, So either way, that's what I see in this video for
makes
today.
Sense. That it makes sense why you're saying that, and I also think it makes sense that he will. Yeah, now that you're saying it, I understand, because I just don't see two brothers fighting for one AFC division. championship. I think they really want to go AFC, NFC. But you might be right. Yeah. We both might be wrong in this whole thing, and then tomorrow he signs with Miami Dolphins. Yeah. It is possible, very possible. Oh man, we're almost coming to the end. Wow, it's longer than we thought. And glad you joined us. I forgot to introduce ourselves. I am Ukulelevis, and this is Big Bets or Big Euro. You can subscribe to his station or here because we're just trying to spread the love about Tua Tagovailoa. We didn't have too much on Tua today, but if any of these coaches will come over, they'll bring excitement to the Miami Dolphins community, and I think the football team will be better with whichever one they decide to go with. And I think I'm gonna put this on the community tab, so go out there and vote for. If you think it's now, if you think it's Mike McDaniel or Jim Harbaugh, it's up to you. I'll have it out there. Go and vote again, because we voted for last week for between Kellen Moore. So go ahead and check it out. And is there anything else you wanted to add? No, I think we've made the video longer than we thought we should, but. We just needed to put out information so that people have an idea who these two people are and how they affect the Miami Dolphins decisions in coming up either today or tomorrow. But it's important for the fan to kind of like see the information and understand where it's coming from. Yeah. And then, we learn from it, they learn from it. That's it. And the more we put out there, the more we know what's going on around us. So, because there's a lot of information out there, it's just so much information that it's hard to believe your sources. And there are certain people you believe and certain you don't. But at the end, you have to decide for yourself. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put the information out for you so that you can decide what to believe and what will happen and why it happened, so that's for all of us. Well, anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us, and as always, take care and be safe out there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, Tua Tagovailoa.